Hello, welcome to episode 4 of the Persona Project. Today is kind of a bit of a different type of episode. I'm going to talk through a lot of how the project is changing, and a lot of those changes are happening as a result of the developments with AI technologies. I needed to make a whole episode really about this because the fucking shit that's happening with AI, the landscape facing musicians at the moment in the online space is dire. It's phenomenally bad. Like, it's jump off the ship type, like maybe can't ever go back, doesn't matter, have to escape type bad. In my opinion. In this video, I'm going to focus mainly on Spotify because the things that are happening are so bad that it's no longer really an option to just go along with, oh, everyone is uploading here, I'm just going to sign the terms and conditions and just, if everyone is doing it, it's fine, it must be all right, really. Now, personally, I've always had a kind of a tricky relationship with Spotify, going back way earlier on, when I used to release music in the past, before the Persona project, before any of this kind of business. I released a bunch of solo albums under my own name, Laura Sheeran, and I uploaded my back catalogue, which was 2 albums and maybe I think 4 EPs. And I did my distribution through TuneCore. When I uploaded my back catalogue at that time, I did it all in one go. TuneCore used to charge per release, and so I had to pay, the cost of 6 distribution packages at one time, which was in and around €300. Fast forward 1 year, I was going to have to renew my distribution. I went in to look at the royalties that had been generated. I had a relatively modest following, 40,000, 50,000 streams, and to my dismay, I saw a total of €8 and something. So I made the decision at the time that I was just going to let everything fall away off Spotify because I just felt it was so wrong that the artists who had their work up there were having to pay such big sums of money in comparison to what was being generated from, the streams or whatever it was. And at the same time, I was paying to use Spotify as a listener. And it just felt like the musicians were getting hit twice. Anyway, since then, there's been no music of mine on there. When I started the Persona project, I just accepted, if I'm going to be releasing music again, if I'm heading into this space again, I'm going to remove any financial expectation that I have to try and generate income from this project. That means that I can do it for fun. I can prioritize my wants over need. I can lead with my instinct and follow my heart and just treat it like a beautiful play space. And so far I've kept it that way. I just thought, well, if there's no expectation of earning anyway, then I might as well just lash up my stuff on Spotify like everyone else is doing because, people can hear it, and I'll just get over my hang-ups over this stuff and move on and, whatever. 18 months ago was when I uploaded the first track. Within that 18 months, everything has changed. This summer, I found out that Daniel Ek had been investing in Helsing. He put $600 million or some obscene amount of money into AI military weapons. I don't want any part to play in that. So over the summer, I decided to cancel my subscription as a listener. There are so many other ways to consume music that are better for artists as well. Spotify still pays almost the lowest. It's down there with the worst of the worst. Even the streaming services that are better are still terrible in terms of royalty payouts. We know this. We all know this. We've all just chosen to accept that this is just the way it is, and we all just have been going along with it. Anyway, I cancelled my subscription. After that, I also was reading a lot of articles about how all of our music had been used without our permission or consent or knowledge to train AI. I was kind of thinking to myself, the consequences of this on me and my work are very, very small because there's been very little material up there. I understand this, but I feel so strongly about this. Whether or not I'm impacted, it's completely wrong. And I can't. The fact that artists' music has been taken without any consent, fed into this AI system that it can't be retrieved from to generate AI music that is polluting the world so much. It's so wrong. For anyone watching this who is not a musician or not involved in the music kind of world, there are two main AI websites that people are using to generate music: Suno and Udio. Both of them have trained their AIs without any knowledge that this was even happening, and it's becoming a problem now because people are prompting it to make work that sounds so undeniably like artists whose material was put into the system without them knowing that they are now facing some lawsuits, which I'm very happy to hear about. However, at the same time, we have multiple AI artists getting signed, AI artists like hitting #1. These are generated fictions. We have BMI and ASCAP and the other one that I can't remember the name coming out with a joint statement saying that they are going to be signing publishing deals for AI human hybrid music, but that they're going to continue defending artists who have had their music taken without their consent or used. So this just doesn't make any sense because if Udio and Suno have trained their models without the artist's permission or consent, then fundamentally everything that gets generated by that should be in breach of that, right? You can't pull water from a poisoned well and then be like, oh, this water is fine, but the poison in the well is really bad. But this water that you've taken out of the poison well, that's fine, and we're gonna let you sell that to everyone. But the well with the poison water is really bad. That doesn't make any sense. No.
Editing Laura here. So since filming this video just over a week ago, Warner Music Group have settled their lawsuit with Suno. Personally, I see this as quite a negative development because up until this point, it was both the major labels and independent artists who had filed lawsuits against Suno and Udio. But now that Warner have come to this settlement with Suno, I don't see how independent artists stand a chance at this point of making any headway in recovering or preserving the integrity of their work. What's common between the settlement that Warner Music has reached and the joint statement put forward by the publishing companies is that both are promoting this new technology as something that is a new creative tool that artists are going to be able to use to artistic effect, that they don't want to get in the way of, progress, that artists have always used new technologies to be creative and to make new work and to change the shape of their work. In this case, the technologies that we're talking about have been created off the back of insane levels of exploitation of artists. The whole system of music generation in the context of AI has been born from a massive breach of copyright. I would argue the largest theft that has ever occurred since the music industry began. They're just pretending like that whole thing didn't happen. Part of the settlement that they have reached is that in 2026, they're going to start charging its users to download the music files that they have generated using Suno. So let's just look at this for one moment. Let's say you have to pay €1 or $1 to download an MP3 file. Suno has 100 million active users. If everyone just downloaded one audio file, that amounts to $100 million. And so the profit that is about to be gained is huge. And that's before, anything has been monetized through the publishing, which is now possible. This is just another layer of exploitation. It's another layer of extraction, and it just further propels the music industry into a complete dystopian hellscape that is burning to the ground and is going to just end up leaving us with the fumes of our charred remains floating adrift with toxic pollution that's emanating. And this is not even taking into consideration the environmental impact of the data centers and the processing of all of this data. There is no renewable solution for these processes. So we're fueling a fire that we know that we can't contain. This is a complete new level of unsustainable practice. Anyhow, that was a tangent, but just this situation is changing literally day by day. So I just felt it was important to mention that had happened since I filmed my video. Anyway, back into it.
Make any sense? No. After that, I started seeing people talking about some of the new AI remixing features that were being integrated into Spotify. I decided, okay, I need to look at this and try and understand it so that I can be in the driving seat. I'm going to look at all of the streaming platforms because they could all be integrating these features for all that I know. Now, let me be clear. There is no streaming service that is ethically watertight. They all utilize systems of exploitation. What's different about Spotify is that in their terms and conditions, they have some unique terminology. Those details are what has created the situation right now where they have been able to integrate these AI features that none of us want. Some of us probably want them, but a lot of people don't. And there's no opt-in option. They're just being put on us, you have to accept this. So you have any human being anywhere who's a Spotify user who can just make derivatives, make variations, remix your track or whatever. You've got no say whether you want this to be publicly available. They can post it, people can hear that. You've got no say in whether it can go out or not, or be published, or who can hear it, or how those derivatives get used. I don't know if any of you have played around with cloning, but you can literally make a clone of someone's voice using something like 11 Labs. Any person can just decide to take one of your songs and separate the vocal from the instrumental, and all they need is 10 seconds of audio of your voice and they can make a clone. This is obviously the tip of the iceberg, okay? And we have all signed away that we not only give them the right to use our music for any of these features that currently exist, but also for anything using technology that can't even be imagined yet, can't be even conceived by humans yet. So God knows what's coming next. No, too far. No thanks, no thanks. No. So I decided, okay, it's time. I can't believe this is happening for the second time. I'm just leaving Spotify again. So anyway, I decided I'm going to take my music off because fuck that. There's been so many times along this pathway that we as the artists have been completely blindsided. And the worst part about it is that we've all signed away any fucking rights or authority to intervene or to stand against any of this, because written into the terms that we have all been signing and clicking, it's all completely future-proof. Even though I've removed my music, whatever versions of the music that they had converted within the system still stays on their system, and they can still use that to promote their business and their company. And so I can't, even though I've digitally deleted my presence on their site, my music is still in there and it will always be in there. So they know what they're doing. We've all just been taken for a massive fucking ride. And here we are with everything sucked into this system that can't be retrieved. And it's fucked. If I have a 4-album project, there is no way in hell I'm putting it anywhere near Spotify. No, thank you. No, no, no. So I'm just sort of at this point right now where I feel like I need to completely change how I am picturing a future for any of my music to exist in the online space. But honestly, like, it does suck taking your music down. As soon as my music had been removed, like, I was getting DMs on my Instagram from people, it's not there anymore, like, what happened? At first it was like, I felt like, oh God, have I made a mistake? But then I realized, like, no, this is actually really good, because every person who texted me, who messaged me, who commented, I was then able to text them back and explain why. And in doing so, every person had no idea about this stuff. And they're like, oh God, that's really fucked up. Like, I didn't know that that was happening. So looking at the digital ecosystem right now, streaming, as far as I'm concerned, is on the verge of collapse. And I understand that the whole AI thing, there is an AI bubble happening, and maybe it's all going to collapse, and then, you know, we'll be back to square one. I don't know what's going to happen. All that I know is that I am really uncomfortable with what's being let happen to our work, to our creativity, to our dignity as artists, our authorship over our own work, the fact that we have created something that now has been just transferred into some other beast. It can never be retrieved from there. Like, it can never be taken back. So this is really not okay. It's really, really wrong. It really should not have been allowed to happen. It should not have happened, but also it should not have been allowed to happen. As of now, there have been like no consequences to the fact that this is like an outrageous violation of our work, of ourselves as people, as autonomous human beings who should have a say in how their work is being used. There's nothing that can be done to take back this crime against art, against artists, against our work. With that rant to the side for a moment, I want to say, I don't have a problem, might not seem like it, but I don't actually have a problem with AI as a concept or as a thing. Like, obviously there are huge problems with AI on so many levels right now. It's off the scale, okay? So I understand that. But as a concept, I'm not like, I understand that technology has always been progressing and moving forward. I totally get that. And I'm not against it as a thing like that, as a concept or as something that like has emerged or, you know, been developed as a progression from all of the, like, along the technological journey that we've all been on as humans on this planet. But it's the deceit, it's the lying, it's the theft, it's the lack of regulation, it's the lack of information, access to information, it's the environmental impact. It's like there's so many different things which I cannot, they just So what can we do? Well, first off, I just gotta say, like, I have no fucking clue. I have no clue what to do. I am now looking at the next year or two for this project with all these albums. I can't afford to do like a vinyl release for every album. Maybe I'm gonna win the lotto. Maybe I'm gonna get like an amazing job that's paying me like a year's salary or whatever, but like right now that's how much it would cost if I want to put these things out the way that I had pictured. So that's off the table. Streaming wise, Bandcamp, still solid. Still gonna use Bandcamp, that's great. But it's not very it's not very share friendly. It's not like the I don't know, like it's not, like I can't listen to stuff on Bandcamp. I don't know. I need to start using Bandcamp more as a listener, because maybe the user interface for listeners is better than I'm aware, but it just strikes me as not as convenient, and like in terms of building playlists and all these kind of things that people depend on and use all the time. So, but I am definitely going to still really be able to release things on Bandcamp. Apart from that, I really don't know. One thing that I do think we need to start doing is very clearly labeling when we have created like human-made content, human-made work, human-created, like all of this stuff. And I feel strongly about this, but even when I say this, it's really kind of tricky because right now the way that things have progressed over this past year, like it's not just Suno or Udio, it's not just ChatGPT, it's not like these AI features have been woven into the fabric of like all of the tech that we use, like all of the plugins that we use for music production. Like personally, I use Logic to record in, I use the Waves plugins, I use Isotope, I use Valhalla, I use, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, Native Instruments, like I use all these things, you know, legally. I buy my licenses. Logic has AI, Waves, AI, Native Instruments, AI, like all of these programs that we use and these plugins, these tools that we use to create the work that we do, even if it's fully human generator, human creativity, the tools we're using have AI built into them. So it's not even as clean cut as just saying like, I made this myself, I wrote the words myself, I produced the beats myself, I played all the instruments myself, I sang all of my own lyrics myself, I produced it myself, I mixed it myself, whatever, like apart from the mixing and mastering, like 100% of what my music is done like through me being driven to make the thing, like all of it. But even then, can I say that it's fully human made? No, because all of the tools I've used to create the thing have AI built into them, and I use those features. Like, they enrich the creative experience, and this is the problem. It's not black and white, and this is why I can't say fully that I have a problem with AI, because fundamentally, like, I don't. There's so many different ways that AI has improved. Like, I mean, there's loads of other things outside of the music space to do with like healthcare and disabilities and like bridging the gaps between people, accessibility. Like there's so much that AI can do to contribute. But whatever, that's like separate outside of music. But even within music, some of the AI features that have been built into these tools, like they have really like enlivened my production kind of like process and like what I'm doing and stuff. So like, it's not like you can switch them on or off. Like, you know, you get an update for the thing and it's just built in. And you're just like playing away, creating and, you know, doing your thing. You don't even realize you've used these features until afterwards. You're like, oh, wait, that's like a new feature or something. But like these things, they have emerged and come into our ecosystem in a way that like it hasn't been visible. And yet at this point, we've become completely normalized to using all of these things. And so I don't know, even through the language, can we start saying like clearly human? Like, do we need to really start breaking down? We need some philosophers on this. I'm sure maybe there are. I need to find who are the philosophers. Let me know who are the people who are like deconstructing all of this and working it all out. Like, do we need to find out like the clearly defined parameters for what constitutes as AI generated or human generated? Like, I don't know, how do we quantify that? Is it enough to say like if you haven't used like Suno or you haven't used Udio, like if you haven't used an actual, but then who's to say that like using ChatGPT, like if I'm trying to, anyway, oh my God. And also, I'm sorry, this is the other thing. Artists are being forced to constantly adapt to like all these new technologies and try and learn like what's happening. It takes away so much energy from like the work that you actually want to do, which is to be creative, to make things, to express yourself, to talk about what's happening in the world through your artwork. It's very difficult when things are changing so fast that you can't see what's coming down the line. Like, I can't even just decide, okay, things are the way they are right now, and this is how I want to react to it. Because in 6 months' time, God knows what next thing is gonna be the problem then or gonna have changed. And because all of this happened to artists without us knowing ages ago, like, by the time we find out that this has even happened or that our work has been used, it's so way too late, which makes you very nervous about engaging with any of it, any of the online space at all right now, to be honest. However, I do know that The darkest time comes before the dawn. Oh, actually, by the way, I forgot. I wrote a song about this. Obviously, as you can see, this has been like playing on my mind quite a bit, and there is no clear like path forward. There's nothing. Thank God that songs can be written in moments like this, because it helps process some of the fucking mad shit that's going around your head. But anyway, I wrote this song about how they stole the art to put a heart in the monster. And this is the big fucking problem that I have with this, because AI wouldn't function well without all of the work, the literature, the music, the imagery, the artwork, all of the human stuff, the culture that has been taken, the theft of all of that vibrating, living human culture that's just been sucked into this fucking machine without any of us having a say or knowing that this is happening or having like being prepared for that, to give the fucking thing its pulse, like to give it a fucking heartbeat. Like, people can't use these things without our work having given it that life in order for them to be able to use it. So it's like we have become the heart of this fucking monster, and we had no fucking say in this, and it's really awful. It's really wrong. It shouldn't have happened. Like, fuck this, honestly. And so we just need to fucking take back our power over this. Like, no, absolutely 100% no. I'm not going to contribute to this anymore. I am not going to let any of my art, any of my work be fuel for this beast. Like, no. I've been describing this whole headfuck as feeling like you're on a spaghetti junction that's been built on a swamp. We're blindfolded. I'm driving at high speed. I don't know how the fuck to get off the spaghetti junction. I don't know where I'm headed. I don't know where I'm going. And there are bits of the spaghetti junction, bits of the road are just falling and being swallowed into the swamp, and it's all just a complete fucking terrifying mess, and no one knows where they're going. No one knows how to get off the ramp. There's no exit ramp. There's no map. There's nothing. So it's very tricky times in the music eco space. Also, sorry, didn't even mention the fact that people are having all of their work just deleted off Spotify, because people can add anyone's music to like these AI playlists. And then the artist who's been added to these things without them even knowing gets their fucking music flagged because Spotify is trying to, like, you know, clamp down on AI slop or whatever. And then next thing, all of their music is deleted. They have no way of finding out why. They can't argue about it. They can't get it put back on. Like, it's it's so fucked. So there you have it. That's what's going on. And I will not be putting the Persona project anywhere near that. Lots said, lots still to say. It is what it is.
Nobody's coming for you. Editing Laura here. Any artists out there, I urge you, please think deeply about this. Now is the time. Now really is the time to try and understand exactly the technology we're using, why we're using it, if we need to use it, if we want to use it. It's just very important that we understand when we use these technologies, what the consequences are and what web we're being spun into. This is really, really important. It's a massive change that's happening. People can do whatever the hell they like. It's no skin off my nose. But it's just very important that we are informed and that we remain informed and that we actively seek out this information, because it's not being shared with us. Earlier today, I was listening to a lecture by Dr. Fifi Lee, who is one of the leading computer scientists who has been involved in AI development and all of this stuff. And she was discussing how AI and large language models are essentially one-dimensional. And that's what we're engaging with when people are using these resources to generate music. It's a one-dimensional experience of a musical craft, which is tethered to our human experience in the world, which is so multidimensional, it's so multifaceted. It's so important that we remain connected to that. And, you know, I guess this is just creating an even deeper and deeper and deeper wedge between what the music industry has become, what it represents, the complete polar opposite of what music is, what music means to us, what music is for, what we use it for, what music is.